Few updates when it comes to Madagascar, because in just the last hour, the president has dissolved the National Assembly. Andry Rajoelina fled the country in fear of his life after an elite army unit joined anti-government protests. And in just the last few minutes, Air France, the French flag carrier airline, says that it's extending its suspension of flights to Madagascar right through to Friday. Now, the Madagascan president said that he'd been forced to find a safe place, but hasn't specified exactly where. And this follows a fortnight of nationwide protests, mainly led by young demonstrators over issues like high unemployment, what they claim to be corruption, and the cost of living. BBC Africa reporter Sami Awami is in the Madagascan capital, and Sami explains just how people have been reacting there.
Largely from what I've heard from people here is that they felt quite disappointed because they expected that speech would answer a lot of questions that they have, but unfortunately they say it didn't answer a lot of their questions. Now, the president answered one question partially, and confirming that he's not indeed in the country, but he didn't say where he was, and people were expecting that he would say that because there's been a lot of speculation here, and some saying that he's in Dubai, others saying he's in France. But of course, the French president could not confirm that he was indeed in that country. But there are other questions here, and especially who is in charge of the country. You remember the president dissolved the government 2 weeks ago. He started appointing ministers, but he only ended up appointing 3 ministers. The Senate, the president of the Senate resigned, and then the military seemed to be in place, but they're denying that they're actually running the country. So it really is not clear here who exactly is running the country. Legally, the president is still in charge, or the head of the country or the government, but practically it's not clear yet who's running the country. Now, as I speak to you, the opposition now are getting together. They're trying to start a motion to impeach him on grounds that he has abandoned his position or his post. But they have a job to convince the ruling party MPs, their colleagues, that it is important for them to do that. Once they've done that, then the High Court would launch the election process, the transition government and all of that. But at the moment, there are just still a lot of questions here, and especially who is in charge of the government and the country at large.
And Sami, we've only got a minute left or so, but just remind us, because this is a youth movement that kicked off these protests, but they've now been joined by this elite fighting force.
Yes, that's correct. Their initial demands were water, electricity, but then expanded to demanding the president to step down. And that's because they say the problems in this country have been for a while. The president has been in power for about 16 years and he hasn't managed to resolve almost all of them. So they demanded for him to resign so that they can start afresh. But they are worried now they may not have that chance to be involved fully in the process and the next process. So they are concerned about what's next.
Sami Awami there from the Madagascar capital, just as we get that line that Air France has extended its suspension.